first class in each individual MOS, okay? So you might have a cat out there that could end up, and this has always been my problem, that could be toxic, you know? So if there's not, if I'm under strength, E7, 13 papas, and this guy might be, I'm not picking on you, man. Hey, so this guy might be the worst guy out there, but because he didn't do anything bad enough to be QMP, he's not going to get QSP. Does that make sense to you? But I might have a guy on this side that, hey, guess what, we're overstrength 13 Bravo staff sergeants, where everybody knows we are, right? We're overstrength them, so hey, this guy might not have done something that poorly, but hey, guess what, you're going to get QSP. That's a big difference. It's MOS driven, or requirement driven by MOS. All right, next board, slide, please. Hey, so give me some rumors that you guys have heard about boards. I mean, seriously, there's got to be, give me, what's the biggest rumor y'all have heard? Yes,
if you're a Mason, are you selected?
Hey, so that's been one since I've been a private, man. But so what rings can you have on the board?
Wedding ring.
So how can I tell if you're a Mason or not? But no, that's a good one though. But that used to be the hit because you used to say, hey, you had your little ring on there and turn it and they'd get picked up. So you don't see that on the board, right? And there's nowhere you can put, it's not like I can put that down religious preference because guess what, on an ERB I can't look at that anyway, right? So I appreciate you saying that. Go, who else had one? Go ahead.
Don't get promoted if you have a mustache on, maybe?
Hey, so that's a great one, and that's not a rumor. You got a mustache?
You shaved it off on me.
Hey, so I want to tell you this. And so I went down to the academy last year, and I talked to a couple of the soon-to-be either sergeant majors or wannabe command sergeant majors, right? And so I'm talking to one, I said, hey, why do you I remember you, and I remember your photo, and why do you think that is? Well, because I had a mustache, right? And I said, yeah, it was, but it's out of tolerance. And so if you're talking about, hey, I want to be a battalion CSM, 1%, and I've got 300 people competing for 20 positions, why give them a discriminator? Talk to me all you want about regulatory guidance. I could care less. Because it's on that part of it. It's an appointment, right? And that guy, he still didn't get it. I said, I guarantee he got a photo this year with a shave, though. Take the time to do that. Why give anybody, especially if I'm talking about how the Army's downsizing and it's so competitive, hey, throw your ego out the door. Who gives a shit? Get your mustache shut up. Get a haircut, all right? You don't have to have your haircut or mine, but you got to have something to do. Don't be in there like, where's Master Sergeant Ravellis at? Is he still? Hey, so he's got some pretty hair and he's got it all waxed up and then I told him not to. Hey, so don't do that on the board, right? If I see that and I'm sitting on there, I'm like, hey, next slide. I'm not, this guy can't, he's not ready to be a first sergeant. You know what I mean? So yes, that's not a rumor, that's actually the case. Just don't give the board members any reason not to pick you up, fool. Tracking? What other rumors you heard? Do you hear about like you got to have all 5 excellence? You heard that one? Hey, so where do you have to have excellence? We're non-commissioned officers and we're talking about, I'm looking at you to be a senior non-commissioned officer. Where do you think you got to at least have 3 excellence at? Leadership, I heard. What about? Competence, and what's the other one? PT. Hey, training, you know, there's guys underneath you, gals underneath you. That might be, you get the credit for training, so I don't really care. You know, I mean, you're going to have all those bullets anyway, right? Success. You got to be PT now, right? We're back to that, and I'm sorry if somebody got injured in combat. Hey, look, I've got it now where I'm all busted up. I'm 50 years old, you know? But you cannot lead from the front as a senior non-commissioned officer if you can't do excellent in PT, right? If you look fat in your photo, hey, lose weight. Look, I had a guy tell me that, hey, you know, I went down and talked to him, hey, sorry, man, I don't understand why I'm like, hey, I get it, you go to the gym, but you look fat in your photo. Man, it crushed me. Guess what? I got down to 199 first time in like since 7th grade, and I made Master Sergeant. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff we need to pass on. We're not trying to poke at anybody in that, but we got to share that kind of stuff with y'all. If you want to be successful, you got to lead from the front. Ooh. You can't be a PT guy. Hey, my battery's out there doing PT, and I'm in there drinking coffee, smoking a cigarette, right? At those days, I'm sure we've all had somebody like that. We can't do that anymore. Tracking? Makes sense? Hey, so I know you don't care about this part, but I'm going to tell you, has everybody heard about the 1 plus, 1 minus through 6 plus? What does that mean? Excuse me, you're shaking your head. What does it mean, Sergeant Martin?
The highest score you can get was a 6, Sergeant?
6 plus, okay.
And then depending on what the package shows, then it'll sort of get a different ranking all the way down to 1. So.
And what happens if you're a 1, you think?
You probably get that cutoff.
No, you're done. 2 is the cutoff, right? So if I get 1 and there's no votes on there, if somebody votes you 1, hey, you're probably going to get that letter in the mail and say, hey, thanks for your service, but it's time for you to get out. Because that thing means do not retain, okay? Track it. Hey, next slide, please. So this is the infamous word picture that I've talked about. This is an example of one. It's not the exact specific one on there, but it's very, very similar to what they have. And again, you can look at the HRC website and pull these down. I want you to look at these and see how they're tied into and then so we are. Does that, you know what I mean? So you can look at, hey, you know, if I look at a brand new sergeant, I got you in today, you're in my formation, you're successful, right? Just because you're wearing the sergeant, you're fully capable right now, you're fully qualified. But this is how you're gonna go either higher or lower, right? And if you look at that, doesn't it kind of make sense to you? You know, as far as, you know, coming into an NCR, hey, select with peers. Have select with peers. How many guys got that on their NCR senior rater comments? Anybody? Hey, you're not getting picked up, man. Yeah, don't even put that on there. If it does not say promote now, promote immediately, send the school to use SASMA at the first opportunity, you're not going to get picked up. And it's not your fault, man, because no one probably told you that. I'm not saying you're not going to, but you're going to be, if I got somebody that says select ahead of peers or select immediately, what do you think I'm going to pick if it's tied out? Probably immediately, right? So let me see your records, man. I'll try and help you out. All right, we're back to the 1 through there, right? So on this board, there's 4 people. There's a full bird colonel, and there's 3 command sergeant majors, either brigade level or battalion level. And this is what we go by. And so I can't have, like if I voted Sergeant Hepworth, I know this guy, man, he's 6+ easy. But then somebody else votes him 2, then we're kind of screwing him, you know, because we got to go back and revote. You can have a ±1 on this board. Sergeant major board, you can have ±4, so there's really nothing to tie in there. So, ±1. So I'm trying to get Hepworth promoted, I'm trying to get promoted, but he's not really, his records don't stack up. Well, what happens to Hepworth now because I've got to revote these things? Everybody else is sticking their guns, so I just screwed Hepworth, right? Does that make sense? Because now they're going to say, hey, I'm throwing out his records and I'm throwing you off the board. And, you know, they're disqualified. So that's not doing him any favors. So you can only have ±1. So there really is some good quality checks and balances in there. You know, a lot of people don't believe that, but there is. You know, so most voters, and they don't sit together before and say, hey, I need you to look at my boys on this side, I need you to look at him. Hey, if you look at him, I'll look at him. You can't even communicate around this board, right? You're gonna have one guy here, one guy there, one guy there, and one guy on that side. Tracking? So there's always good checks and balances, and plus there's a little HRC board recorder that punches you in the back of the head if you do that kind of stuff. Ooh. All right, next slide. All right, break ties. So when I talked to you guys earlier about 1059, so the Master Sergeant board I sat on 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, they had, there was 54 people that got picked up. The 54th person, there was 41 people tied for that position. How do I break that tie? So we got to go back and revote, right? Now remember, 41 people fighting for 1 promotion spot. We go back and revote. Guess what it is? It's, you know, everything comes out the same. Then it's got to be, hey, I need you to dig deeper, and then you got to do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing. Ooh. Make sense? So what is it if I got a guy that, average guy here, you're not average, right? Got a mustache though, so. But I got an average guy here, or I got a guy here that's exceeds the standard with a mustache. I'm just kidding, man. Your mustache looks good. You know, so, and on a 1059, who am I going to pick? Who am I going to pick if it comes down to, hey, this guy exceeded the standards every course, and you know, everything else matches up, Bronze Star, deployments, the whole 9. What's it going to come down? We got to figure out something, right? It could be something as simple as exceeded course standards in ALC or SLC. Well, just so you know, because if I got somebody on there tracking with me so far, right? If I got somebody on there, if we're talking about a Master Sergeant, I'm not looking at a Master Sergeant to go sit in the old positions that used to be in S2 that are now E7. I'm looking at First Sergeant material, leading from the front, right? So I'm next slide now. Because if you marginally pass something, how are you going to be, I can't have you in front of anybody. You with me? So, I mean, I'm telling you, so whatever it is, Audie Murphy, Soldier Year, get out, go do recruiter after you've done, you know, time with the platoon sergeant job. Cool. All right, next slide. Hey, so these are just some kind of slides, and again, you get them from the HRC website, and I quit showing them because they're kind of hard to see. But I wanted you all to be able to at least look at the Army Selection Board system. If you come up here, and if I could have it on this side, you see there. I can't look at anything until I look at a disciplinary file. The first thing that pops up is you have any disciplinary action. It's like, say you were a PFC, you had a DUI. We got to look at that before we can go through, cool? Just so you understand. And I've seen some very, very crazy things, and I'm like, I don't know how this person made it past E6. When I talked about that Sergeant First Class driving drunk in a TMP with a drunk, passed out staff sergeant, that was an actual case. I actually read that before. Now, you know, that guy got QMP. But that's been the kind of things, whether it's, whatever it is, if you do anything that's not values-based anymore, you know what I mean? That's what we're built on, right? If you're not professional in it, we're probably looking at you for, hey, I don't need to get you promoted. Ooh. All right, so anyway, after that, the next thing comes up is a photo. Ooh. Well, let me take that back, and I'll talk about that at the end. Letter to the President Board. How many guys have been told to write a letter to the President Board? Go ahead. Hey, so why? What did they tell you to write?
If you weren't able to get something updated 9 times out of 10 because you didn't pay enough attention to your packet. But if you weren't able to get anything updated or you need something to be known, maybe a profile for whatever reason, I could write a letter to the board.
Would you write a letter to the board though saying, hey, I've got a profile?
No.
Because then you're calling negative attention to yourself, right? Hey, so I had guys write letters to the president of the board for being inducted into St. Barbara's, and I couldn't. Hey, who freaking cares? We give that to cooks, yes or no? So what are you thinking? That now I'm pissed off because I got to go back through your record. Hey, I don't care, but if it's something that, man, I just got back off from deployment, and even though there's people that were professional enough to go get their photos and all that updated, coming back off of deployment, you just couldn't get that bronze star in there, that's acceptable. I promise you. But if you have some kind of, well, when I was a private, I had this certificate that didn't get uploaded, or, hey, I deployed like 4 years ago, and this is on a CSM board, and my photo's in greens, and I'm a master sergeant, and you're trying to explain to me why? Hey, next slide, right? You get that, right? Does that make sense? Cool. So anyway, then we look at the photo. The next slide, please. Go back one. I don't know if you can see it, but up in this right-hand corner, that's how they vote. That's when we talk about the 1 pluses or not, all the way through 6, you can see that on that right corner, okay? So you click on that. So what we'll do is we'll have the picture on this side, go ahead and hit it, and the ERB will be on this side, right? Hit the next slide. Why would you think that is? So I can look quickly at it. Yeah, because that's another discriminator, right? If you're gonna talk about being a senior non-commissioned officer and you can't get your uniform to match your ERB, next slide, right? I'm not even wasting my time with you, because how then are you gonna be able to school junior sergeants? Track it? As you can see though, and this is again, I know they're hard to read. Hey, so I can look at your deployment history, I can look at schools you've been to, and I can look at your assignments. I can't look if you're married, I can't look at your PT score, although if you're smart, you're gonna have it on your NCOER. There's so many things in here that we can't even look at. The biggest thing on there though is matching that photo with the ERB. You with me? Next slide, please. And of course, when we start going through the NCORs, if you can see on this side, again, you can look on the HRC website, you can see how we get to scroll down into, and I can look down into, man, when you were private. But I'm not wasting my time on stuff like that because I'm assuming that HRC vetted all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So whatever's on your ERB, I'm assuming they vetted all of that stuff, so I don't have to go look and find the award to match up with on your ERB. Tracking with me? So whatever you have on your ERB, when you validate it, make sure your photo says the same thing. Now, NCOERs. I don't know if that's, what's the next on it? Yeah, go ahead and go through that. All right, I know we're kind of short on time. Hey, so how they vote? MOI, we got that, we talked about that, 625, we talked about that, right? And then everybody's always gonna use the board member experience. If we don't update the 625, most people are gonna be on the board, they're gonna try and promote themselves. Well, this is what made me successful, this is how it's gonna be, and not pay attention to what we have in our 625, all right? So that's why we rewrote that, and that's why we try to brief them when we go up there every time and tell them, hey, look, I don't care what this guy's saying, this is what we're saying needs to be successful. Next slide. Talk about that, next slide. Hey, so focusing on, I promise you we looked at every Raider bullet on there. I did, all right? And most of the other cats and gals did as well. But what was more important to me was the senior Raider comments, right? Dragging with me? If you're not written down, promote now, promote immediately, or if you're not sent to school, 3 things we got to address are what? Senior Raider wise? Promotion, schools, and potential, right? Now, I get this question a lot. Well, hey, I'm a Sergeant First Class, I've already been SLC. Should I put down battle staff? No. Why should you not put down battle staff? Not everybody gets a chance to fill that seat, right? So that's really not anything. I would put down, hey, at first opportunity, immediately send this guy to USASMA, because that's the next level course for y'all, right? Although they're developing a Master Sergeant, or it's called a Master Course out of Sergeant Major's Academy. That would be the next one to put on there then. You with me? Don't put down First Sergeant's course. Hey, there's no such thing, right? Tracking? Hey, and so duty description, I'll talk about that too, right? Don't put any lofty made-up crap on there, right? Put on there what it is that you're actually doing every day. Next slide. All right, so these are some quick thoughts that we had on there, right? Hey, so if you get your photo in greens, what do you think we're going to do? Next slide, right? Yeah, good point. Hey, so Sergeant Army said how many years ago? Hey, if you're a senior non-commissioned officer, you should be wearing the ASUs. Yes, Sergeant, and that's what we do, right? Don't be that cat. I'm telling you, we had some special operators try that. Guess what they got? Next slide. All right? There's so many other ways to do that. Go to the photo lab, take somebody with you. Hell, I took a Sergeant First class with me last time because I can look at people's uniforms all day, except for my own for some reason. I get it pretty close, but I want somebody to look at it while I'm standing there because, you know, there's different body builds or whatever, and it might move your ribbons around. Get it to have somebody go in there with you. ICMs, we see that on there, right? Sergeant Reed up at Lewis, he kept asking, hey, Sergeant Major, why did I get promoted? Hey, let me show you your photo, man, because you didn't have any ICMs in there. I know you just came back, it's on your ERB, you got 2 combat stars. Come on, that's just stupid, right? Why would you not get that straight? Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, everybody understands blue, white, red? Don't I have to talk about that? Hey, so you saw on there about the mustache thing? No mustache. Take the time, get a haircut. My Fishers, who I love with the pretty hair. Hey, there's absolutely zero infantry guys sitting on the Field Artillery Master Sergeant Promotion Board, just so you know, all right? So what do we expect? Us old archaic sergeant majors sitting on these boards. I expect you to have a haircut, right? I expect to be in regulatory guidance. You with me? Hey, it's not because we're jealous. We used to have hair like that too. Huh? NCOERs, all right? Hey, so I said competence, leadership, and PT. College course, how many guys have that on their NCOER, his competence, the #1 bullet? #1, it's okay. Why? Is that it? Why would you have college course, hey, GPA 3.8 or whatever? Why would that be the #1? Are you telling me for a whole year that's all you would? What? Great for you, and I'm proud of you going to college or whatever, but that's the silliest thing to put on it because what are you talking about? 622 talks about what? Organizational leadership, right? How are you leading the soldiers and how are you leading the organization? That's a great personal accomplishment. I would not ever put that down. That does not equate to excellent, right? Don't put that down. If you put it down, if you feel like you got to put it on there, put it as a 3rd one, but I wouldn't even put it on there. You've got to have done something better than that. We're talking about competence now, right? #3, that's might be okay. No, you're probably right. Hey, but so you know what I mean? How are you competent in your duties? That's what I need to know. Accurate duty descriptions. Hey, believe it or not, there's no such thing as a rear detachment brigade sergeant ever. All right, that's just not on anybody's TDA or MTO anywhere. All right, hey, so I might have to. I'm going to try not to curse in this one. Hey, so for leadership, we talk about you got to be excellent, right? Please don't ever put on there, hey, I got a coin from the SMA. Why would you do that? Well, how does that tell me you're a leader? Because guess what? We're all sergeant majors that sit on there, right? What happens when the SMA's in town or your division sergeant major's in town? Hey, brother, give me 5 guys to get a coin. Okay, hey, sergeant major, here they are, right? Yes or no? Hey, next slide, right? Because you're not, what does that mean for you as a leader? We know how that shit's given out. Don't put that on there. What have you done for a leader for the organization? Track it? APFT, talked about that too, right? So I had this guy, and maybe you can edit this for later, so I don't know. He looked like a freaking whale, right? I mean, fat, stupid fat, and sloppy fat, all right? So, but you're gonna put on there, this dude was proud for 3 years in a row, he got a 220 in his PT test. Come on, man. Hey, we're talking about leaders, right? We're talking about senior knocker. I'm talking about being a first sergeant. And I promise you, it's the same for the 7 board now. It's just not that was my favorite comment ever. Okay, next slide, man. All right, we talked about success and leadership as we promote on, as we're drawing down. Hey, you can't be mediocre anymore, right? You've got to be excellent in those 3 areas. Hey, don't send a first sergeant course. We know there's no such thing as that, right? It's been 6 years. There's not been a first sergeant course. If you're not checking what's eligible to be put on your NCOR and you're letting some platoon sergeant or some lieutenant do your NCOR and you don't check it, shame on you. All right, you might have caught yourself a promotion. I talked about the 1059s, right? ERBs, if you can't update your ERB or validate your ERB, how can I then, man, I'm gonna put you, you're in a position of trust. I'm gonna make sure that you're checking all everybody else's. You can't do that because you can't even do your own. Nobody's gonna make you do that anymore. Broadening assignments, I think we've talked about that enough. Hey, so almost every assignment out there, platoon sergeant time or equivalent. Master gunner's okay, right? Do the 2 years and then go do the broadening assignment. We talk about diversity and broadening the Army, and that's okay. That's perfect. I love that. But you got to either come back or you got to be with soldiers first, all right? Tracking with me? I think that was the last one, Summer. We talked about that, man. Hey, so next board, again, right from the HRC website, photo and ASU, you see they got it on there. Clean up your ERB. Hey, so don't have anything on there that says incoming soldier, ever. Excess soldier, ever. Get them to put you in a slot. And if you're in a BMM slot, hey, figure out a way that you can put that on there where it's an actual authorized position, all right? You can work that with your HR folks. Cool? Tracking with me? Hey, when I say the height and weight thing, So I had a guy one time, he was like 64 inches, and the next time he's 75 inches, and he's like 48 pounds heavier. Come on, we're not, I might look stupid, but even I can figure that kind of stuff out, okay? All right, net performance. Hey, so the biggest thing to take out is always make sure you're rank ordered. You're the #1 staff sergeant out of 58 in the brigade, or out of the battalion, or whatever. Hey, you're my #3 first sergeant, and this is why. Have those honest conversations as you progress on, please. You know, we used to do that at the brigade level with the first sergeants and the sergeant majors. Hey, brother, love you, man, but I don't see you being a sergeant major. It's okay. You don't have to rub salt in the wounds. You have to kick them when they're down, but you can be professional and honest with folks, right? You can have an honest conversation without, you know, everybody get butt hurt. That's okay too, but then they come back and realize, hey, you know, thanks for that. You can ask those guys in the back and work in the FAPO office. Every last one of them has asked me one time or another about an honest assessment. I gave it to them. It might not have been what they wanted to hear at the time, but they've got, you know, they got past that. That's what you need, and you got to make sure that you're doing it to your junior folks as well. Is that it? Hey, so what are your questions? I know we kind of ran through that pretty quick, and I apologize. I wish I had some more time with you all. Go ahead.
Sergeant Major, the question I know a lot of us are wondering about is the stagnation with the 13 Bravo promotion to D7 right now. It's almost up to a year now and nobody's gotten promoted.
Yeah. I mean, what you...
Just curious as to the reason possibly why. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you why. What is the reason why right now, do you think? And this is for everybody. How many cannon units inactivated this last year? As the force design came about, how many 13 Bravo spots got asked to go away? And so there's not that many slots to promote you into right now, right? So they're probably going to be stagnated for a while. They already got the P. Are you promotable? Hey, so you're going to get it eventually, man. And I'm not... Hey, so back in the day, I mean, I knew guys that 2 years they sat on this, and I'm not saying that's going to be the case for you, but until we clear up some of the natural attrition, or guys that are getting legally chaptered or medically chaptered, it's going to probably be a while. And if you're in for it for the long haul, man, you know, you're obviously, how many years you been in?
18, Sergeant Major.
So you're going to make E7, you're still successful, right? And you beat up with the timeline. But you can catch that back up. So it might just be a while, is all I'm telling you, you know, and it depends on if they're going to be sequestered or not. You know, if they're going to make us go from 450 to 420 in October, or they're going to let us stay at 450. And that's up to Congress and Chief of Staff of the Army and Sergeant Major of the Army to fight for us in front of Congress. So, probably wasn't a great answer for you, man, but at least
It's an answer, Sergeant Major.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
not what I've gotten anywhere else.
that's the honest answer, man. You know, and I don't know when it's going to come back up. Right now, we're so overstrength. 13 Bravos is at the E7 and E6 level, you know, because of the inactivation. What else? Go ahead, man.
Sergeant Major, my question is with the grade reduction as far as there's targeting going down the staff. So like I just left Hood, I have an FSNCO E7 slot, and of course Grant says you got to move. And now with drawing down the staff SAR, would I be rated as the 3-0, and how would that affect my career? Because there's not that E7 slot, there's going to be more tiles opened up, or is this one of those things I have to bite the bullet?
No, I don't ever want you to say you have to take, you know, to fight, take the bullet or whatever, you know. Sometimes, believe it or not, we understand that sitting on the board. We understand what's going on in the Army, like he just asked. You know, hey, so it's going to take 2 years for me to get promoted. Hey, I got to work, because the Army says what? You can work how many down and how many up? So it's okay, you're authorized to do this, I'm telling you. It's not going to hinder you as long as the report card is written the right way. And if you were at the E7 level, successful, but as soon as you can, I would be trying to find a position at least equivalent to the rank you're wearing or to the next higher position. Does that make sense?
That's the current fight I'm in, but
Yeah.
like I said,
But it won't hurt you on the board at all, especially if that's your first one. What will hurt you is if you have on E6 instead of E7. You know, so don't let that happen. Did that answer your question? What else, man? Go ahead.
Sergeant Major, in regards to talking about writing the letters to the President of the Board, I do 4-year extended annual NCAR.
Hey, what is that?
Well,
Show me in the regulatory guidance where that's okay.
I think.
Don't give me the date, man. Tell me. Look, so,
Sorry.
I'm a guy that's, hey, it's in black and white or it's not. What's the NCR regulatory guidance we have? There's 2 of them, right? What are they? So you can't even tell me what those are, and you're talking about a 4-year insurance. But go ahead with your question, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm not picking on you, but so as sergeants, y'all better understand where the NCR comes from and where the regulatory guidance comes from, right? There's an AR and there's a DA PAM. Well, they both have the same numbers that I'm not going to give to you right now. Go ahead.
Called HRC to put the code on it, Sergeant Major, and it covers my Special Forces qualification course, because they don't do 1059s there. And I went throughout the whole course, so I'm rated for 4 years, and I really don't know how that's gonna affect me. I don't think.
Hey, so
It's not helping.
come by and bring me your stuff, man, seriously. I'll give you a better answer, because I can't give you an answer until I actually see what you have. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stop the question, because I appreciate the question. Somebody gave you some wrong advice, is all I'm saying. So come and see me with your NCOER that supposedly covers 4 years, and then give me your ERB, okay? And I can give you some specific guidance or advice after that, okay? I'm not trying to shut you. I really want you to come and see me, okay? Can you do that? How long are you guys in class for? When you guys graduate?
March 6th.
Okay, so I'm gone next week, but the week after that, make time, okay? Seriously, come and see me. Bring me your data, and that goes for anybody if you want me to do that. I promise you I'll do that with you. What else?
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, man. You
My
gonna say your
question-
mustache?
Right. My question is off the topic of motion to it.
Okay.
Given the standing of 1 out of Fort Hood and 220 supposed to be coming up to.
After they go to Korea, they're gonna come here and be
Right.
facilitated.
Right, is that pretty much taking Papa's and Mike's from being able to be stationed at Fort Hood, or is there be another something?
Hey, that's probably gonna stop it from happening. But so that, you know, the one thing we didn't talk about is when I talk about diversity in the field artillery non-commissioned officer role, right? Hey, so one of the things that bothered me is I had a friend, Sergeant Major David Carr, he's a Garrison Sergeant Major, he's a 13 Mike, right? Where do you go is Mike's and Papa's. You either go Fort Sill, you go to Fib, and you come back. So there's really, if you're lucky, you go to one of the units at Bragg, right? And that's few and far in between. So what I wanted to do when we talk about mergers, or we talk, you know, so I can give you better assignments. Because by the time you pin out Master Sergeant, guess what? You better be a freaking expert on every 7 MOSs. But it would be a little bit easier if we shrunk it down to 4. And so I need to give you better, you know, if I'm going to talk about promoting you, then I got to give you better opportunities to serve somewhere different. So maybe you want to be airborne, but you're Papa and you can't be right now. So if we have a Juliet, then you can go do that assignment out of 319. Did that answer your question?
Right.
Okay. What else? Sergeant Major, we're sick of hearing you ramble on. Can we get the hell out of here? That's the look I got right now, right? Hey, that's all right. What class y'all got next? Am I keeping you from something? You don't even know what's on the schedule. That's a damn shame. All right, hey, so thanks so much for what you do. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. I think it's very important that you're not from here, that you get somebody at least speaking to you while you are here, you know, because I know at your graduation, I will be there if I'm not TDY, because I think it's important. If I'm telling you how important education is, then I got to be there to watch you graduate. Hey, so thanks again for what you do every day. I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for it, son. I appreciate it.